Hey all, welcome back to Doug's Cars. I forgot today was a filming day. Just busy here using these official Land Rover attachment brackets to affix my permanent antique tag here to the front of my Beluga Black 94 County LWB. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this wrapped up and stay tuned because there's a little bit more Rover Rescue coming your way right now. So I want to do a little update on Rover Rescue. It's getting towards wintertime now. The time has changed, so it's difficult to film things with daylight. I have a day job, and even though I leave work at 3 o'clock, there's still not a lot of time in the afternoons and weekends to film things. And because of my power steering line being really backordered, I haven't had a lot of time to drive the vehicle without doing further damage to it. But one of the things I've always wanted to do is run a CARFAX report on it. Now that it's been registered in my name, it'll show up that way. But I also want to run the CARFAX reports on the other two first Range Rovers that were found via Rover Rescue. If you go back and watch my first video and the second video especially, they were both filmed the same night, you will see those three vehicles in the field and in the parking lot behind that storage unit where we purchased them. A little bit of background after that. You might have seen I just recently got antique tags personalized, so it took a bit longer, but I wanted to get Rover Rescue, why not? I just recently got it legally registered with those tags, and that's because there was a titling issue. It seems that the person who purchased the vehicles, who was the owner of that storage facility, never got these vehicles titled in his name. Well, maybe except for the silver one. That had a valid title. He had a signed over title document added to the title from the original owner, well, one of the original owners, that was never actually titled in his name many years ago, and he was no longer available to have him sign it. So I had to go through a process called an abandoned title, which varies from state to state. And in Virginia, it has a prescribed amount of days you must wait in between certain stages. So it took a couple of months to do that. Now, the silver Range Rover, which I will do second in the CARFAX report, has also been registered and has been for a few months now. That one had a valid title that was able to be taken and transferred immediately to Troy, who owns that one. And then the maroon, the very rare maroon colored county LWB that's also 94, still has that issue of not having a signed title. However, since it's owned by Mike and he owns a shop and he has the ability to use a dealer tag when he needs to, he can run it that way when he's been driving it. Unfortunately, it had a brake issue and hasn't really been on the road. So long story short, I'm going to run these three VINs. You'll follow along. I haven't run these yet. I have no idea what's going to show other than my personal one. I know should show now that it's registered to me. We'll see. It's been a couple of weeks, so hopefully that's entered the system. Be interesting to see how quickly CARFAX receives reports from at least the Commonwealth of Virginia DMV. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up here, and I will be talking along with this like I did. I have done this previously when I purchased the Hoopty M3 from Tyler Hoover of Hoovy's Garage back in February of this year. I can link to those videos too. I actually have a few of them on that car. I ran this report as well because I had a hunch that the vehicle was from Florida because it was a convertible. It had many, many options except it did not have heated seats, which just seems an odd omission in a late 90s expensive convertible car from Europe to not have heated seats. And I was proven correct. It was actually originally a South Florida car, and then it had lived for many years in Kansas before Tyler purchased it and then before I purchased it from him. Those are fun videos to go back and watch if you want. The one video has a significant amount of Tyler Hoover in it, along with Watch JR Go, another YouTuber from Wichita who has recently gone way over 100,000 followers, which I would love to be there someday, but we'll get there. So anyway, thanks for listening to this little intro. I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up here on my laptop screen, and we're going to run the first one and see what happens. Well, all right, I just pulled it up. Let's see. 3 previous owners, 1 service record, 204,018 last reported odometer reading. Well, that's acceptable because that's probably what I reported it as. All right, so we have 1 owner for 1 year, 5 months in Virginia. Interesting, because I know that when I searched through the book, it listed a service at a dealer in New Jersey in 1994. So I assumed that the vehicle came from New Jersey initially, which is a good assumption. It was very expensive at the time. So then we have owner 2, 24 years, 2 months. That's not necessarily true because this person actually, I have a title from that vehicle. They did live in the Richmond area They were in the Tri-Cities in Colonial Heights, and the person got rid of the vehicle in 2008. That's the last year that it had an inspection for. So it's interesting that they have it listed as 24 years and 2 months. That's not true. And then that's me, 2019, personal, 204018, right there. That's me. Let's see, additional history, no total loss. No airbag deployment, that's good because it doesn't have any airbags. Basic warranty, no data. Ooh, inspected for damage on 5/22, right there. Let's see what that is. So we've got a title issue 202/94, and then it was sold and repurchased in 95. So, you know, that's fine. That's got to be the owner that, yeah, Colonial Heights, Virginia, perfect. So damage report with 169 damage to rear. Well, that explains the dent in the bumper and the missing bumper cap that I had. And thanks to RVA Rover on Instagram, he's the guy who has that diesel 5-speed 2-door. He had an extra bumper cap, so I got to put that on. That's interesting. So that happened in 2003 and was reported. Vehicle was serviced at All Good Automotive. Oh, that's when the tires were mounted and balanced. That's where that was sent to do that. Interesting. Owner 3 purchased. Yeah, well, so the tires were done then, and then it was actually titled October 2nd, which that's me. Interesting. So it had all these renewals from Colonial Heights. I know that owner had it for a while. I do actually have that title because it was signed over to, actually the vehicle was donated, and the donation agency sold it on, and the guy who had the storage facility is the one who then sold it to us. And interesting. Damage to rear, 169,000 miles. So it's not very bad. The bumper's dented in a little bit, and the tailgate scrapes. But I'm very interested that that's on there. That's cool. I'm glad to see that. I'm surprised there's not more service history on here, but it's not a modern vehicle, so that's not really going to be on there. But damage reported, that's true. Even though it was minor, that was pretty cool. Well, I'm satisfied with what I knew about this vehicle being reported here, but I also had some of this information in my possession. So I think it's time to go on and take a look at the silver one, which is an older vehicle. And while it also had a Virginia inspection sticker, it was several years more expired than mine. And let's see where that came from. Gear wheels good. So 89, 3 service history records available, and 22 detailed records. Ooh, all right. What have we here? No total loss, no structural damage, potential odometer rollback. Now, there was something that when we were looking at these vehicles, we were told that it had 37,000 miles on it, and it actually showed 137,000 miles on it. So that's interesting. Obviously no airbag deployment because no airbags. California, interesting. San Diego passed emissions in 91. So it had 45,601 miles in 2-3 years. If it's an 89, that's interesting. So it's offered for sale in San Diego. And then it went to Florida Motor Vehicle Department, California Inspection Station. That's weird. So someone must have titled it, I guess, in Florida, but still had it in California if it was inspected there. I always think it's funny when they have Florida Motor Vehicle Departments in Maryland. Sometimes the Virginia one's listed in like Pennsylvania. So here, okay, we've got 88,437 miles with the Florida loan or lien reported title issue in 2000. But in 2003, in Virginia, it's got 45,000 miles. So they must have replaced the gauge cluster, and it actually has 45,000 miles, let's say, or maybe it wasn't a new cluster in 2003. It may not have been. Interesting. Signs of potential odometer rollback here. Don Byer Volvo, Falls Church. AC and heating system checked, exhaust system checked. Well, we know it needs a new exhaust system. So a correction or title was issued in 2003. Okay. So that's interesting that it still had a Florida title, but was now in Virginia in 2003. Okay, so we've got 48,000 miles here in Virginia. Culpeper, I believe it has a Culpeper City sticker still on the windshield, so that would make sense. But in 2008, that was 2004. In 2008, it's got 146,000 miles on it in Gordonsville. That's interesting because that's where Commonwealth Classics is, and their Range Rover place there. And then 2019, 147,000 miles. When the title was issued, that must have been when Troy titled again, this is the silver one with the rusty hood. That must have been when he titled it. And that would make sense because we actually got these in the beginning of May. And so 531 at the end of May, that would make sense. They were still at the shop. But then it was serviced, actually at Allgood, again, that must also be when tires were put on. Well, I'm not sure. But anyway, okay, it must have been an alignment or something. So that's how that showed up. 627, 47,280 miles. So again, there's an odometer issue with that vehicle. And honestly, it doesn't matter at this point. But that's interesting to see where this vehicle has been. It doesn't go back before 91, unfortunately, but yeah, we've got right here, California Inspection Station, San Diego. Southern California vehicle. Interesting because that one's really rusty underneath. The floorboard, I mean, the frame is fine, but the floorboards are just rotten and gone in the front, basically. And they have the exterior rust on the hood. Very interesting. San Diego vehicle. I would not have thought that. I would have thought Northeast, New Jersey, Connecticut, somewhere where people have these because of the weather. Well, these are pretty interesting, I must say. I really had no idea what to expect when I started doing this, other than on mine. That San Diego thing is really interesting. Well, we've got one more to do. I'm not doing any of the other Rescue Rovers in this video, and there's good reasons for that. First off, the white 92 has sold, and then the rusty Chicago Rover also has sold. They're both apparently going to a new owner in Canada, so the rust will be well taken care of up there. They'll know what to do. And then, of course, Mike's green diesel 5-speed, well, it just came to the US, so we don't need to run that one because it's not going to be on the CARFAX. I don't think Portugal participates in the CARFAX reporting, although it would be interesting to see if it did, but I highly doubt that, so there's no reason to waste the money on that. I don't have unlimited CARFAX reports, which would be fun, but I just don't. So, okay, let's go on to the maroon one, and this one has not been retitled, so it's not going to show anything new, but I still want to see where it came from. It has a Mississippi inspection sticker on it from many, many years ago. So I'm very interested to see where this came from. This will take us to it. Another 94 county LWB. All right. So 94,000 was the last reported odometer reading, and I believe that to be accurate from what I've seen in the vehicle. 3 service history, 6 detailed records. So, okay, again, we've got no loss, no structural damage. Wow, still no airbag deployment. That's surprising since it doesn't have one. No recalls, wow. So it got a title in Mississippi at 68,000 miles right here in 1998. Very interesting. So we don't know where it was before that, but that's good to know. 98, it was in Mississippi. Now, that probably kept it from getting super rusty too. Heidelberg, Mississippi, interesting. So there's the original title issued at that point, serviced at an unknown service facility in 99, 2000, 2001. Automatic transmission pan replaced. Okay, well that's good to know. This vehicle is registered in a county declared a flood disaster by FEMA by CARFAX in 2005. So this obviously must have been affected by Hurricane Katrina. So it must have been in lower Mississippi, in like Biloxi or a place like that. Interesting. Of course, it's pretty tall, so you know, hopefully it didn't get too flooded, but that is really interesting. Wow. What? Mike's was a Katrina flood vehicle. Wow. Now there's the bombshell out of this entire group. I thought the San Diego title issued in California and lived in California for many years was interesting, considering the amount of rust that's in the floorboards of the Silver 89. But the fact that that's a Katrina flood vehicle, even though it really doesn't show any outward signs of damage from something like that, but it obviously did come from Mississippi, and they were obviously devastated when that storm came through. That's amazing to me. A Katrina flood vehicle. Wow. Well, that explains some of the electrical issues, I guess. Well, actually, I don't think he has as many electrical issues as mine has. I think all of his windows work. The doors don't necessarily like to open from the outside, but that's a problem with these, all of them. I've lubricated mine many times and they seem to work a little bit better, but wow. Katrina flood vehicle. You saw it here first, and it's always fun to see what happens with these cars when you pull them up on there. Like I said, I've done this before recently with my M3 convertible to find out something I thought I knew, and I was proven correct, which pat myself on the shoulder. But this, I had no idea. I really had no clue other than the fact that it had a Mississippi inspection sticker. Mine I had a little more knowledge of because I actually had a title from that owner who owned it for many years. And we had no clue about the other one, the silver one, being from San Diego initially and then being a Florida vehicle before moving to Northern Virginia, which is probably where it got its rust. Wow. That was worth the money right there to order those 3 reports. I am really happy with the results I got. I can't wait to tell the guys what happened. I'll be nice and let them know before this video goes live. I'm sorry. But I do want to thank you all for paying attention to the entire Rover Rescue segment that's been going on. I do think that we really want to get the 3 initial vehicles together and have an off-road session. Maybe not as in-depth as the one that were in my other videos where I drove out to Western Virginia for the Mid-Atlantic Rally with the Rovers of Virginia Association. But something along those lines would be great to have the 3 initial ones that were stuck in that field, in that parking lot for well over a decade together, reunited off-road in mud and dirt and all the fun stuff that comes along with that. So thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I know that it's really made it so much easier for me to make all these videos, knowing that so many people love to see what's going on with these field Range Rovers, and it's just been so much fun to make these. I will keep doing that. I always say this, I will bring other content, but right now the Range Rover stuff is what's going on, and so I've been bringing that. Thanks so much for watching. I so appreciate all the new subscribers. Keep watching, there's tons of new stuff coming, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good day. It's a self-regenerating electric car. Oh, I don't think it is.